Part 121. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1201. The two groups were arguing loudly, and the leader on the opposite side was a foreigner in military uniform. He shouted at the people in broken Chinese, "What are you doing here? Go!" His expression was very arrogant. Aken shouted loudly, "Hand over the national treasure, otherwise I won't let you go." The man was furious and actually shouted "Bullshit," in a clear and loud voice. Afen and others quickly responded. "You are the one who is bullshitting. Hand over the national treasure, hand over Uncle Seeing, otherwise I will be rude to you." The foreigner was even more angry, and angrily said, "So what if I'm rude?" As he said that, he pulled out a pistol from his waist and was about to shoot. At this time, the leader's left guard, and the leader's rear guard, who had been crouching and hiding behind, stood up together, and each of them threw a handful of stones in their hands. In another corner, the leader's forward stood up. He was not as strong as others and could not throw stones like this. But he could shoot two extremely accurate stones. Even in this world, Xiao Ming is not inferior in the technique and accuracy of hidden weapons. The only shortcoming is that he can't use his internal strength, and his strength is insufficient. But at such a close distance, it is enough. Almost everyone on the opposite side was hit. 2/3 of them fell down in an instant. This is also caused by the fact that these people are standing too densely. Those foreigners with guns were the worst hit. Each of them had one or two broken arms and legs, and their guns fell to the ground. The pistol of the foreign officer was knocked away by the stone thrown by the leader's vanguard. Another stone hit his lower body, and he fell to the ground in pain and couldn't get up. Xiao Ming didn't dare to take the lives of these foreigners. At this time, the death of a few foreigners is a big deal. Diplomatic disputes. It would be fine if I could stay and finish it, but tomorrow I will pat my butt and leave, and this mess may fall on the heads of innocent people. So Xiao Ming deliberately didn't kill people. Those traitors were not so lucky. They didn't have guns in their hands, but they had weapons. They were a big threat to the people. Xiao Ming had no spare energy to take care of their lives when aiming. Stones were thrown all over their heads, and some unlucky people would definitely be hit in the vital parts. Of course, there were always a few people who, because of the angle, escaped the first round even if 3 Xiao Mings threw hidden weapons at the same time. But these people did not escape the second and third rounds. After 3 rounds of stones, there was no one standing on the opposite side. In fact, not all of them could not get up. Some of them were only slightly injured. But seeing this situation, they dared not get up and continue to fight. The people rushed forward. According to the leader's previous instructions, all the guns were stolen, and several foreigners were tied up. In the process of tying them up, they inevitably suffered a lot of punches and kicks. Finally, Huang Fiheng and others understood the situation and did not let everyone beat these people to death. But the traitors were not so lucky. These people usually oppressed the good people, and the people hated them a long time ago. At this time, many people took the opportunity to vent their anger. The beating was so brutal, and some people were dragged away and beaten to death because they did too much evil. The leaders discussed it, and the leader's guard, the leader's vanguard, and Afen and others stayed outside with the common people. On the one hand, they guarded the captives, and on the other hand, they prevented others from coming in to disturb them. The most important thing was to guard against the reinforcements that might be sent by the British consulate. That's why the leader's guard stayed, and his hidden weapons could play a big role. Huang Fiheng, Akan, Huo's Heng, the leader's left guard, and a dozen steel factory workers rushed into the steel factory with the stolen knives, guns, sticks and clubs. In the original book, only Huang Fiheng and Huo's Heng came in, and Huang Fiheng only had a fan in his hand. He really didn't care about his life for being handsome. As a result, the two of them faced several powerful enemies. Huo's Hung was dealt with early. Huang Fihung defeated several people all the way, and was beaten badly by two masters. Helplessly, he had to drink industrial alcohol to exert the power of drunken boxing and defeat the two powerful enemies. But he was also seriously injured by industrial alcohol. In this life, Huang Fihung still pretended to be handsome, holding only a fan. However, the other dozen people were holding sharp weapons. There were more people than those who stayed in the steel plant. Seeing so many people breaking in, the people who stayed behind also went out collectively, and the two sides confronted each other. Among the people in front of him, only one muscular man was a foreigner, and the other two masters and several thugs were Chinese. Seeing this scene, Huang Fihung shouted at these Chinese, "Do you know what you are doing? Foreigners are smuggling our national treasures, and you are still helping." Several Chinese in work clothes looked at each other and seemed a little hesitant. At this time, a man in a suit and glasses stood up. Xiaoming had seen this man on the train. When the British consul lost the Jade Seal and sent people to search the train, he was one of them. This man's name is Tan Chang. The other guy in a black suit is called Henry. In the original book, they were the two who almost beat Huang Fihung to death. Tan Chang sneered, "National treasure? If we are hungry, who cares about us? Even if we don't do it, others will do it." These words are standard nonsense, and many evil people use them as excuses. First of all, they are not people who will go hungry. There is no pressure to survive at all. Secondly, even if they are hungry, there are other things they can do. They can join the army, be a bodyguard, or even be a thief or a robber, which is better than being a traitor. Finally, even if you don't do it, others will do it. But it's others who are doing evil, not you. Just like a person has money in his pocket, whoever steals it is a thief. You can't wash away your crime of stealing just because you don't steal it, but others will steal it. In the original book, Huang Fihung and Tan Chang Henry had dealt with each other and knew that these two people were very bad. So there was no need to waste words. In this life, the two sides have no intersection. Huang Fihung learned a lot from the leader and others, and he likes to preach a little. So he said a few more words, trying to persuade them to turn back. Seeing that both sides were hesitating and didn't fight, the foreign muscular man couldn't stand it anymore, and shouted loudly, waving the long iron chain in his hand and hitting the leader and others. This man is a strong man at first glance, and the only one who can fight him head-on in terms of physique is Xiaoming. The leader took the lead, swinging his sword and using his strength to pick up the chain, almost hitting Tan Chang. In terms of the exquisiteness of his moves, although Xiaoming is not as good as the martial arts master of his country, he has an overwhelming advantage against foreigners. Tan Chang was furious and kicked him with a flying kick. Huang Fihung jumped forward and raised his leg to block him. The rest of the people from both sides immediately rushed forward and fought together. Huo Sheng left the battle group to look for Uncle Xing, who was locked up by the foreigners. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1202. In the steel mill, it was a chaotic fight at first. But soon, everyone was divided into several small groups and fought on their own. Tan Chang versus Huang Fihung, foreign big man versus the leader. Henry singled out the leader's left guard. Ah Chan led the workers of the steel mill to fight against the opponent's thugs. The first to decide the winner was Ah Chan's group. They had overwhelmed their opponents in numbers and had weapons in their hands. Ah Chan's kung fu was only slightly inferior to Huang Fihung, and his advantage in fighting these miscellaneous soldiers was not too obvious. In less than a cup of tea, these guys were knocked to the ground. At this time, Huo Sheng had found the tied Uncle Xing and quickly rescued him to heal his wounds. Fortunately, they were all superficial injuries. They looked bloody, but they would be fine after a while. The leader also knocked down the foreign big man one after another. This guy only knew how to rush and fight with brute force, and did not know how to change his moves in a clever way. As for Xiao Ming's swordsmanship, Fu Mingkai, a martial arts candidate, had taught him some. Although it was a little unfamiliar, it was just right for bullying people who only had muscles but no brains. The leader had the upper hand. And the foreigner's super physical strength did not take advantage, because the leader's physical strength was no less than his, and Xiao Ming would win in a brute force contest. However, Xiao Ming used him as a sparring partner and became familiar with the swordsmanship for a while. When he saw that a Ken was coming to help him, he quickly knocked his opponent down with a few swords. By the way, he scratched his tendons, so that he could no longer use brute force to bully Chinese people in the future. After a while, Henry, who had a pretty good boxing skill, was also knocked down by the leader's left guard. His luck was even worse, because the leader's left guard took 2 knives to fight him. He could not use his proud boxing skills, so he had to fight Xiao Ming with a steel pipe. The weapon was not suitable, and Xiao Ming's swordsmanship was more mature. After fighting for a while, he was seriously injured. Xiao Ming would not be soft on the traitor. Huang Fiheng had tried to persuade him just now, but he still insisted on being an accomplice to the evil, so Xiao Ming would not let him off easily. Only Huang Fiheng was at a disadvantage in the fight with Tan Chang. Tan Chang's leg skills were really amazing, and Huang Fiheng was really no match for him. But he did not suffer much loss. In the original book, Huang Fiheng was beaten badly. This was mainly because he had consumed a lot of physical strength before, and was outnumbered by Tan Chang and Henry. This time, Huang Fiheng fought in the best condition, although he was still at a disadvantage, but the loss was not serious. On the other hand, the other battle groups were all in our advantage, so Huang Fiheng's morale naturally soared. Tan Chang was worried that others would come to besiege. As expected, a Ken was the first to rush over to help, so that this traitor also tasted the taste of being outnumbered by 2 people. Other workers from the steel plant came one after another, and wanted to help, but were stopped by the leader. They were not good at kung fu, and it was easy to suffer losses if they rushed up rashly. If Tan Chang killed 1 or 2 of them, or took 1 hostage, he would be in a passive position. After more than 5 minutes, Huo Sheng also came, and the battle became 3 against 1. Uncle Xing was treated and cared for by workers and the leader's left guard. Facing Huang Fiheng and a Chan, Tan Chang was already in a difficult situation. Fortunately, a Chan wanted to show off his Califo boxing skills and did not use weapons. Tan Chang could still hold on. Huo Sheng was not so polite. Seeing Uncle Xing's miserable condition, he was furious and filled with righteous indignation. The others had been knocked down, and only Tan Chang was left to vent his anger. So Huo Sheng put on special gloves and pulled out a steel pipe from the steel-making blast furnace, with sparks on the front. While Tan Chang was not paying attention, he knocked him down. The suits touched by the steel pipe caught fire. Tan Chang was in a hurry to put out the fire. Huang Fiheng and Ah Chan did not take advantage of the situation, but Huo Heng did not care about that and swung the steel pipe to hit him. Tan Chang dodged left and right, but was still hit twice. He rolled and crawled to the place where the items were placed, trying to pick up the bamboo tube filled with industrial alcohol, prepared to use it to fight back. A worker who was watching the fight shouted loudly, "Huo Heng, be careful, he is going to get the alcohol." Huo Heng was startled when he heard it, but saw that Tan Chang's wrist suddenly shook when he just picked up the bamboo tube. The bamboo tube was not held firmly and fell down, and the alcohol splashed on himself instead. There were sparks left on his clothes, and they caught fire when they touched the alcohol. Flames came out of his clothes. He screamed in the fire. It was the leader who hit Tan Chang's wrist with a flying stone, causing him to burn himself. Seeing this, Huo Heng came up to beat the dog in the water. hit Tan Chang hard several times, and knocked him to the ground. Then he was pulled by Huang Fiheng. "We can't fight anymore. If we continue, this guy will be beaten to death." The workers brought sand used in the factory and poured 2 large buckets of it on Tan Chang to put out the fire. At this time, Tan Chang was unconscious. He looked horrible, unrecognizable, and covered with burns. Even if he was cured, he would probably be disabled. Arranged a few people to drag Tan Chang and others out and guard them with other prisoners. Chan Huo's Hung brought a few workers to watch the national treasures. Huang Fiheng took a few people to report to the national government. There was evidence of this matter, and the national government was right. Even the British consul had to drink a pot. Unfortunately, he had diplomatic immunity, and the national government could only expel him at most. But his lackeys, that is, Tan Chang and others, would definitely be severely punished by the government. And Huang Fiheng, Chan, Huo's Hung, Fen, and other people who had made contributions to the country were greatly commended by the national government. However, Xiaoming didn't see all this excitement. Because as soon as the time came the next day, he returned to the settlement space. The journey of Drunken Master 2 ended. I won't say much about the energy rewards I got. The question Xiaoming is considering now is whether to share the new energy seeds with the reincarnation space. Xiaoming once gave 2 kinds of energy to the reincarnation space. One is the silver energy he had since childhood, the other is the yellow energy he got from the 3 alien races of humans, gods, and insects. The space also gave Xiaoming a very generous reward. The first time it returned the favor, it gave Xiaoming the green energy seeds of the space itself. The second fusion of yellow energy also relied on the help of the space, and it also upgraded Xiaoming's VIP level to gold level. If Xiaoming shared the red and orange energy seeds with the space again, wouldn't it be heavenly? Besides, Xiaoming actually wanted to diversify his investment to the underworld. But the rewards given by the underworld are different from what Xiaoming wants. The soul gem seems to allow Xiaoming to get the purple energy seeds, and it has grown into a towering tree. But Xiaoming was not given other types of energy. Xiaoming wanted to develop together, not to be the only one. But now the red energy is still just a seed, without even a sign of germination. It seems that he can only find a space helper. Xiaoming can only use the red energy when it reaches a certain amount. It is very necessary in the Magic Planet game. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1203. After playing in the reincarnation world with her brother for a few days, Xiao Jing'er had enough. After eating a big meal strengthened by Xiaoming, she exited the reincarnation space and went back to school. Several Xiaoming stayed in Huaguo Mountain, emitting red source energy while watching the state of orange Xiaoming. Only at this time did he present the form of a soul. Of course, orange Xiaoming could also possess any other Xiaoming. Xiaoming was already used to the situation of multiple souls in one body. My Lord Acha's reincarnation disc was indeed extraordinary. It could actually allow people to obtain the status of natives in the reincarnation world. Of course, this matter was actually of little use to Xiaoming. Because Xiaoming was originally a golden VIP, his treatment in the reincarnation world was almost the same as that of a local. He did not need to do the tasks released by the space. However, if he was unlucky and encountered a world where spiritual power could not be used, the time Xiaoming could stay would be more casual. Xiaoming guessed that the real purpose of the reincarnation disc was probably to smuggle. My Lord Acha could no longer be a reincarnator. But her infinite gloves have not reached the best level yet, and she doesn't know if she can fulfill her wish. Besides, she also needs the green energy of the reincarnation space. Although Xiaoming can provide some, it's just that little bit of soup, which is not enough for a cha. It will take billions of years for her to realize her wish. So she may want to speed up the progress and mix into the reincarnation space to obtain energy. Maybe she can separate an independent soul and let the space think it is an independent individual, not a cha's clone. Then use the reincarnation disk to sneak through, maybe there is a chance. Of course, this attempt is still under testing. Xiaoming is a good object to help test. In addition, the reincarnation disk may also help a cha obtain other types of energy. Unfortunately, Xiaoming's current level is too low to draw a conclusion, just a random guess. After a few hours, Xiaoming finally heard the long-awaited voice in his mind. Thank you for providing energy to Jianxin Tower again. Your VIP status has been upgraded to diamond level. There are also some small gifts, which are not respectful. I hope you have a great time in the reincarnation space. Finally, I've waited for it. Xiaoming breathed a sigh of relief. The red source energy that was originally just a seed finally sprouted and is now 10 centimeters tall. This has reached the standard for use. In the blink of an eye, from the previous 3 types of source energy to the current 5 types of source energy. Xiaoming became rich and immediately exited the reincarnation space and logged into the game to experiment. After the excitement passed, he returned to the space to check the privileges of Diamond VIPs. Generally speaking, the rights and interests of Diamond VIPs have 3 aspects. 1. The upper limit of the score is locked at 1000 points. 2. The types of items in the scoring mall have been greatly refurbished. In theory, the mall's products will be updated only after a regular task. Because the VIP level has been upgraded, this preferential treatment has been granted. Many advanced task cards, invitations, training cards, etc. have appeared in the scoring mall. And some new products have also appeared. The most powerful one is the sea-level world chain, which is worth 1000 points. The function is to lock a planet from the mission world or the ownerless small world as Xiaoming's private world. This thing is awesome. Xiaoming used the unlimited world chain to lock the world of Yu Yu Hakusho. Several of his high-level followers came from here. Karama and Hai are now his outstanding followers. Shui Cai is slightly weaker, but her charm is overwhelming. With her, Xiaoming's team is particularly harmonious. Since there are C-level world chains, there are also cheaper D-level and E-level chains. They can lock a smaller range and the price is definitely cheaper. However, before Xiaoming was upgraded to a Diamond VIP, the option of world chains never appeared in the rating mall. It seems that it is not only a matter of price, but also a matter of identity. In fact, items like world chains rarely appear in the Mall of Reincarnations. They can only be obtained in very special mission worlds. Don't you see that Hong Chao, an A-level master, only has one Jia building as a private world, and he attaches great importance to it. It can be seen how difficult it is to obtain a world chain. In addition, Xiaoming can now buy the C-level world chain, which is also the first space care. It will take a long time before another world chain appears, and it is still E-level. The C-level chain has not appeared in the mall for a long time. Although the world chain is good, Xiaoming himself can't really use it. The world of Yu Yu Hakusho is too vast, and Xiaoming can't explore it all. What's the point of getting another planet back? In fact, the best choice is to sell it. I really don't know how high a price such an item can be sold for. It must be very amazing. Xiaoming even doubts that apart from the 12 Kings family, I don't know which other forces can afford it. Speaking of selling things, he is a little worried. Take out a world chain to sell. Will it scare people? It will cause a riot. Anyway, there is no rush for this matter. Xiaoming put the things away for the time being and deal with them later. Becoming a Diamond VIP, there is a third benefit. That is, Xiaoming can decide how long to stay in any reincarnation world. There are no more limits in the samsara space. You can come and go as you please, and stay as long as you want. Just treat it as your own home. Although Trap Dragon wristband can also play a similar role, Xiaoming's situation in Drunken Master 2 also shows that the Trap Dragon wristband is not omnipotent. You also need good luck. Finally, you don't have to bother with the wristband anymore. Our own privileges can adjust time. As for the wristband, Xiaoming gave it to brother when to use. In fact, my sister can also use it. But compared with the strength of spiritual power, Zhang Wen, the third-generation zombie, is better. And he can replenish spiritual power by eating. It is most suitable for him. Regarding the Diamond VIP privilege, Xiaoming still needs to slowly explore it in the days to come. Let's look back and see what changes Xiaoming encountered after exiting the reincarnation space. First, take a look at Orange Xiaoming with the reincarnation disc. After exiting the reincarnation space, he immediately reincarnated into the next identity. The six-footed standing posture made him realize at the first time that he was not reincarnated as a human this time. Just look at the companions passing by. This time he was reincarnated as an ant. And this world is still a world that prohibits supernatural energy. This is just making things difficult for me. What can a small ant like me do? Follow the team to carry food? Orange Xiaoming shook his head and left the group. He crawled towards the ant nest along the way he came. Since he was here, he would take a look at what the queen ant looks like from the perspective of an ant. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1204. Unfortunately, the little ant Orange Xiaoming did not see the queen ant. He felt a pain in his body while crawling and lost consciousness. It took a long time before he opened his eyes again. This time he was reincarnated as a fish in the sea. It seems that he died just now, or so it is. He basically didn't feel anything. There are too many possibilities for an ant to be killed. Xiaoming was too lazy to guess how he died in his previous life. He focused on the new world in front of him. This world still cannot call supernatural energy. After doing this several times in a row, Xiaoming finally figured it out. The reincarnation disc probably locked himself in this world. Although he has been reincarnated, it is very likely that he has been wandering in the same world. From a probability perspective, it is impossible for several consecutive worlds to prohibit supernatural energy. This must be the work of my master Acha. I don't know why she did this, whether she was just teasing Xiaoming or had other intentions, it is unknown. Since I can't resist, I'll just enjoy it honestly. Xiaoming also noticed another thing at this time. In addition to being reincarnated as a human in the samsara world, in reality, Xiaoming has been wandering around in the animal realm. Rabbits, ants, fish, anyway, he has never been reincarnated as a human. It is too early to say whether this is really the case, but this sign is not good. After reincarnating a few more times, the truth should be revealed. The fish that Orange Xiaoming reincarnated into was raised by people. There were no natural enemies in the fish pond, and there was no worry about food. He swam freely in the fish pond for 2 days until the weekend. Unlike Orange Xiaoming's idleness, Green Xiaoming, who returned to the world of 4 people, nodded to the people who had prepared their luggage, and everyone was ready to go. It's time to participate in the Dark Martial Arts Conference. Green Xiaoming named his team the Insect King Team, with Green Xiaoming as the leader. The subordinates who will be on the field are Karama, Hai, Zhangzhong, Neferpatu, and a substitute foreign aide Urameshi Yuzuk. Xiaohong and Xiaolu were originally going to participate in the battle, but in the past month or so, Karama and Hai have made rapid progress, so they gave up their places. They are natural devil fruit users, so this killer can be hidden for a while. Huan Hai also went to the conference as a family member. Now she is not only Yuzuk's teacher. During this period, other people, including Lu Xiaoming, have also received her guidance. These outstanding disciples are going to fight a life and death duel, and as a master, of course, they have to go and watch. Also going to the martial arts conference with Huan Hai as family members are Xiao 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 Sheneng, Sui Ke, Death Girl, Phantom Cat and others. This group of people and monsters, young and old, are mighty. No matter how you look at it, it looks like a picnic, not a martial arts competition. At the edge of the solar system, on the Sheneng 2 spacecraft, Huang Xiaoming, who had just returned, logged into the secret realm of the Legend of the Condor Heroes to observe the progress of the plot. When he didn't log in, there weren't many players in Legend of the Condor Heroes, only a few people from the Shen family, which was not enough to open the next dungeon. However, the system will slowly advance the plot between the two dungeons. It can even take the opportunity to correct some plots that have gone astray. The Battle of Giun Manor must be an important dungeon. Xiaoming has passed it, and the result is quite good. Although Xiaoming didn't go online, the main plot continued to develop for a while. When the 7 freaks of Jiangnan left Giun Manor, Guojing happened to pick up the human skin dropped by Mei Chaofeng, which is the 9 yin manual. He didn't look at it carefully, just thinking it was a sheep skin, which could be used to wrap his dagger. Based on the principle of picking up and managing the family, he stuffed it into his arms. In the original work, this human skin should have wrapped the dagger that Guojing used to stab Chen Xianfeng to death, and the dagger was taken away by Mei Chaofeng. However, in this life, Guojing was not needed to kill Chen Xianfeng, and the dagger did not fall into Mei Chaofeng's hands. If Guojing showed this leather to his masters, Zhu Kong would definitely find the handwriting on it, but unfortunately the silly boy did not do so. After returning to Niojia village and letting Guojing see his old house, everyone went to the secluded place of Han Xiaoying, Zhang Ashen, Zhang Ning'er, and Li Ping. In fact, they lived in a small town near Niojia village, and found a private school teacher for Zhang Ning'er to teach her to read and understand reason. When they were in the desert, Zhu Kong had already taught Ning'er to recognize words. Now it is Zhang Ashen and Han Xiaoying who want their daughter to read more books. After everyone got together, the 7 freaks of Jiangnan began to discuss the marriage of Guojing and Huangrong while practicing the Tiangang Baidu formation. Guojing is also Hong Qigong's favorite disciple, and such a big event must be told to him. So Nanziren notified the leader of the beggar gang through the channels of the beggar gang. Not long after, Qigong also came. Discuss the matter of buying a betrothal gift and going to Peach Blossom Island to propose marriage. At this moment, the silly boy Guojing suddenly left a note and ran away. The note said that Wronger suddenly came to find him, and the two of them went to Peach Blossom Island first. This made the masters very angry, and they also felt that the child had grown up and could not be kept. Xiaoming also happened to log in at this time. In fact, the main storyline is basically stuck here. If the player does not meet the conditions, the Peach Blossom Island copy will not be started. 7th Master, Big Brother, Second Brother, Brothers, Nanziren, played by Xiaoming, greeted everyone. How about this? I will go to Peach Blossom Island first, and I will definitely keep Jinger safe. You can come later. By the way, please help me take care of Niancy. Everyone nodded in agreement. Nanziren has always been steady and has high martial arts skills. He went to look after Guojing and Huangrong. The Jiangnan 7 freaks and Hong Qigong were relieved. Besides, Nanziren has done a favor to the Peach Blossom Island lineage, and he is not worried that Huang Yaoshi will turn against him. It is just right for him to go. The others have prepared the betrothal gifts and will slowly go to Peach Blossom Island. Only Mu Niancy's eyes are reluctant. She has been with her master for the past 2 years, and they often practice the Changsheng Ju together. The girl was naturally a little sad when they suddenly separated today. Nanziren couldn't care about these. You know that Wang Feng will definitely appear in the Peach Blossom Island copy, so he dare not take Muniancy with him. He could only be cruel and pretend not to see it. After buying a horse in the town, Nan Ziren galloped eastward. When Xiao Ming proposed that the Jiangnan Seven Freaks return to Niojia village, one of his purposes was to find Shaguo. She is the daughter of Chu Lingfeng, and handing her over to Huang Yaoshi can add a lot of points. But later, Xiao Ming was delayed by the secret realm of the untold story and the underworld, and he didn't have time to do this. Now he has missed the opportunity to log into the game. At this time, Nan Ziren could of course go to Niojia village. But whether he can find Shago is a problem, and it may also delay the progress of the Peach Blossom Island copy. He had no choice but to do it. Nan Ziren rushed to Zhoushan. According to Huang Rong's routine in the original book, he hired a boatman to go to Xiazi Island, and after leaving Jituyang, he was forced to row north to Peach Blossom Island. Since the main plot has advanced to this point, the game system did not make trouble. Let Nan Ziren successfully arrive on Peach Blossom Island. If the plot had not advanced to this step, it is estimated that even Peach Blossom Island could not be found. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1205. Dehua Island is indeed worthy of its reputation. As the boat approached the island, Nan Ziren could smell the fragrance of flowers in the sea breeze. From a distance, the island was lush and green, with a ball of green, a ball of red, a ball of yellow, and a ball of purple. It was indeed a brocade of flowers, beautiful beyond words. In the secret realm, Dehua Island is probably more beautiful than Jin Dada himself thought. Because the game system can Photoshop photos. Moreover, in the secret realm, the peach blossoms on the island are not only not harmed by snakes, insects, rats and ants, but also can adjust the time of flowering. It always makes people feel relaxed and happy. Nan Ziren went to the island and threw a lot of silver to the boatman, asking him not to take a risk in vain. Then he stepped into the peach blossom formation on the island. Xiao Ming did learn Kimen numerology for a period of time, but his achievements were very limited. The formation of Dehua Island was arranged by Huang Yaoshi himself, which was very magical and Xiao Ming could not crack it at all. However, Nan Ziren had a stupid idea. Guojing and Huang Rong should have just arrived here, and their footprints could still be seen. He would naturally find people by following the footprints. It would be great if he brought the dogs raised with the Changsheng Juqi. They could follow Guojing's scent, double insurance. Unfortunately, in order to save time, Nan Ziren came at full speed. How could he bring a dog with him? At this time, the sky was bright, and no flute sound was heard. It is estimated that the plot in which Huang Yaoshi used the flute to force the old naughty boy, but was rescued by Guojing, should have passed. Nan Ziren followed Guojing's footprints. First, he found the tomb of Feng Heng, the wife of Huang Yaoshi. This is also an admirable and extraordinary woman, and it is a pity that she died. The dead are great. Xiao Ming bowed to her tomb several times. I hope Huang Yaoshi is peeking, and I can get extra points. Then Nan Ziren continued to follow the footprints, looking for Guojing's traces, and finally found the cave where the old naughty boy Zhou Batong was hiding. It's a pity to miss the part of rescuing the old naughty boy. If he could replace Guojing to rescue Zhou Batong, then Nan Ziren would probably be the one who swore brotherhood with the old naughty boy. However, Xiao Ming didn't feel particularly sorry. He had a friendship with Huang Yaoshi, but he didn't know the old naughty boy. When Huang Yaoshi was about to subdue the old naughty boy, he shouldn't have taken action. Guojing was his apprentice, and he made friends with the old naughty boy and learned a lot of skills. Xiao Ming would naturally not compete with his apprentice for such a good thing. Besides, even if he saved the old naughty boy, with his high martial arts, the old naughty boy might not teach him. He might think that Nan Ziren didn't need to learn more martial arts. It's better now. Originally, Xiao Ming thought he could arrive earlier. For his sake, Huang Yaoshi would be able to reconcile with the old naughty boy. The matter of 9 yin manual is also easy to handle. Although he is a little late now, it doesn't matter. It's still the beginning stage, and there are still many things that can be done. Not far outside the cave, Nanziren and a deaf-mute old servant carrying a food box met face to face. The old servant was startled and fled. This was probably the servant who brought food to the old naughty boy Guojing in the original book. Nanziren ignored him and continued to walk towards the cave. He seemed to hear Guojing's voice. But it was gone soon. He took 2 steps forward and heard someone ask, "Who is outside?" "Huang Laoxie?" "No, not Huang Laoxie, who are you?" "You came to Peach Blossom Island, and Huang Laoxie didn't deal with you." It turned out that the old naughty boy found Nanziren. In the original book, Huang Laoxie hid outside the cave and listened to Zhou and Guo talking, and was not discovered by the old naughty boy. But he was exposed as soon as he came over. It seems that he is still not as good as Huang Laoxie in hiding his tracks. He then said loudly, "I am Nanziren, the 4th of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan, and the current elder of the beggars section." "Ah! 4th Master," Guojing was overjoyed and shouted out when Nanziren was halfway through his words. He had just met Zhou Batong and was forced to become his sworn brother. Guojing was quite nervous because he was not familiar with the character of the old boy. It was great that the 4th Master came. He rushed out of the cave like a puff of smoke and greeted Nanziren. The old boy had just tested Guojing's kung fu and knew that this silly boy's internal skills were extremely exquisite, even better than the internal skills of the Quanzhen sect. When Guojing said that he was the apprentice of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan and that his internal skills were taught by the 4th Master, Nanziren, the old boy did not quite believe it at the time. He had also heard of the name of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan and knew that they were not masters. It was really strange that these people could have such powerful internal skills. At this time, Zhou Batong believed it half. Because even if he only heard Nanziren's footsteps, he could roughly judge that Nanziren was a master. Nanziren rubbed Guojing's head and asked, "Jing-er, why did you run out alone? Aren't you afraid that the masters will worry?" Guojing blushed and didn't know how to answer. As the saying goes, heroes are hard to resist beauty. At that time, Huang Rong came to him secretly, and he wanted to report to the masters first, but he was pulled away by Huang Rong, and he couldn't bear to disobey. Of course, deep down, Guojing knew that this matter was not a big deal. If it was an important matter, he would never obey Huang Rong. Nanziren would naturally not really blame him. In Xiao Ming's view, this was clearly the system proofreading the plot. Guojing took the 4th Master into the cave, and Nanziren and Zhou Batong informed each other of their names and got to know each other. The old naughty boy loved to listen to people telling stories. He was just listening to Guojing talking about the desert. He was listening to the fight between the white eagle and the black eagle, and he thought it was very exciting. He pestered Guojing to continue telling. Guojing glanced at his 4th Master, and when he saw Nanziren nod, he continued to tell the story to the old boy. The old naughty boy had been holding back for too long, and he felt unsatisfied after only listening to Guojing's life story. He shouted to Nanziren, "My brother's master, you are late, and you have to drink 3 cups of wine as punishment. There is no wine here, so I punish you to tell a story too. This is simply nonsense. If you say it to others, it will probably make enemies." Nanziren knows the personality of the old naughty boy very well, and he is not angry at all. As a player, if an important NPC wants you to tell a story, this is a good opportunity to improve your favorability. How can Xiao Ming miss it? It just so happens that Xiao Ming has read all of Jin Dada's books several times a few days ago, and it is most appropriate to tell the old naughty boy as a story. Unexpectedly, Xiao Ming got a little stuck as soon as he started to talk about the untold story. Because remembering a book and being able to tell the book are 2 different skills. Xiaoming's storytelling ability is really not very good, and he can't remember some small details. In order to improve his favorability, he simply arranged a 7-star shadow clone to find the book. On the other side, the clone was reading the book. On this side, Nanziren was repeating it. Although it was not brilliant, it was much more interesting than what Guojing had just said. The silly brother and the naughty boy Guojing were attracted by the plot of the book and were dazzled by it. The naughty boy liked to interrupt from time to time, and he was really not a good listener. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1206. Want to know what it feels like to tell the characters in Jin Dada's book about another book of Jin Dada? It's very painful. Of course, this is mainly because the person listening to the story is the old naughty boy. The story told by Xiaoming is the original version. The version that was modified by himself has many places that are not acceptable. And the story is not as good as the original version. Hey, Tang Shi swordsmanship? Why haven't I heard of it? Is there such a set of swordsmanship in the martial arts world? Do you know how to do it? Show me a few moves. Why are Wang Zhenshen's disciples so bad? If the old naughty boy were here, he would pull out all their hair. Hey, his junior sister is too stupid, right? Can't she understand this? The old naughty boy likes to express his opinions the most when listening to stories. He often says 1 or 2 words. And he also dislikes others for being too stupid. Where is his self-knowledge? As the story progresses, De Yun's experience becomes more and more miserable, and the old naughty boy interrupts more and more. He is even a little indignant. He scolds this and that and almost scolds all the characters. After the story passed the Great Snow Mountain, the number of times the old naughty boy interrupted was less. Most of the time, he was silent until the end of the story. In the finale, almost all the characters who could be named died. Only De Yun was left holding the cabbage and returning to the Great Snow Mountain, and Shui Sheng was waiting for him. It was just as the saying goes, the white ground was really clean. After hearing this ending, Zhou Batang and Guojing were speechless for a while. In that situation, even if they were in the same situation, they might not have a good ending. The old naughty boy didn't like such a story, but he couldn't say that the story was not good against his conscience. He had to find a way to change the topic. Brother, and my brother's master, guess why I am here? Guojing said. Brother was just about to ask. Just after he finished speaking, he looked at the master with a red face. He also felt the confusion of seniority. With the old naughty boy, everyone's seniority would be more chaotic. Guojing is an exception. The 7 freaks of Jiangnan are now on equal terms with Hong Qigong and Huang Yaoshi, and the same is true for Zhou Batang. Nanziren said, I have told a story, and now it is brother Zhou's turn. So the old naughty boy also told the story incessantly. His ability to tell stories is much better than that of Nanziren and his apprentice. He first explained the ins and outs of the 9 yin manual. Then he talked about the 5 people, Wang Chongyang, Huang Yaoshi, Duan Huanjai, Wang Feng, and Hong Qigong, who fought for the manual more than 20 years ago. At that time, they did not have the title of the 5 wonders of the Central Plains. Although Qiu Qinren was also invited, he did not come. In the end, Wang Chongyang won the world and won the 9 yin manual in 2 volumes. After Wang Chongyang died, he gave the 9 yin manual to his junior brother Zhou Batang for safekeeping, and set a rule that no one in the Quanzhen lineage could learn the martial arts in the manual. Then Huang Yaoshi's wife cheated him of the lower volume of the 9 yin manual. Later the manual was stolen by the Black Wind twins, and Feng Hong died of dystocia due to exhaustion from reciting the 9 yin manual. Hearing this, Zhou Batang came to argue with Huang Yaoshi, but Huang Yaoshi wanted to use the upper volume of the 9-yin manual in his possession to commemorate his deceased wife. The old boy's martial arts were not Huang Yaoshi's, but he could destroy the 9-yin manual first. Huang Yaoshi had no choice but to trap the old boy in this cave. The two agreed that Huang Yaoshi would not enter the cave and would try various ways to lure the old boy out. If the old boy left, he would lose. Otherwise, Huang Yaoshi would lose. Later, Huang Rong ran away from home because she accidentally saw the old boy and said a few more words to him, which was scolded by her father, and she got angry and left. This girl has a bad temper. Although Guojing likes Huang Rong, he also thinks that Huang Yaoshi is wrong in this matter, and he sympathizes with his new brother, the old naughty boy. So he asked, "Brother, you have been in the cave for more than 10 years, don't you feel bored? Do you want me to ask Senior Huang to let you out?" The old naughty boy laughed and said, "Don't do it. I still have to fight with Huang Laoxi. It will be boring. But your brother has thought of a way, the left hand and the right hand fight." Hearing this, Nanziren was shocked and knew that the key was here. Guojing really asked, "How can the left hand fight the right hand?" While explaining, the old naughty boy used the left and right hand fighting, splitting his mind and doing two things, and let his left hand fight with his right hand. His ability is really amazing. To say that Xiaoming can do two things at the same time, or even 100 things at the same time. But the premise is that his mental power is not suppressed. In the martial arts planet game, if the mental power cannot be used, it is impossible to do two things at the same time. Xiaoming once thought that he could develop a skill to do two things at once based on his experience. However, he tried several times but couldn't do it. Even if he could do it, it was not powerful enough. It seems that there are still many tricks that he has not mastered. There are ready-made ones to learn, so why make it difficult for yourself? Xiaoming decided to wait to learn from Zhou Batong or Guojing in the future. This is his first chance. Zhou Batong felt bored after fighting for a while, so he attacked Nanziren and Guojing with his left and right hands, saying, "Come on, let's play together." Nanziren and his apprentice had to fight back with the 18 dragon subduing palms, and the three of them fought in one place. The master and apprentice fought against the old naughty boy. Xiaoming's internal strength was still better than that of the old naughty boy, and he immediately became the main force in the battle. Guojing is now no less threatening than Qiu Chuji, and he is quite threatening to help him. Seeing the exquisite palm techniques of the two, the old naughty boy also became interested and used the 72 Wei Kongming fist to parry. The three men fought for more than an hour until the deaf-mute old servant came to bring them food. The old naughty boy had a lot of fun fighting, and he ate his meal with great relish. However, after the meal, he did not mention teaching Guojing martial arts. Xiaoming knew that something was wrong. In the original book, the old naughty boy taught Guojing Kongming fist and left and right fighting in order to let Guojing fight with him for fun. Now Nanziren has taken this role, and Zhou Batong has enough fun. The old naughty boy has no desire to teach Guojing. There is no way. Nanziren can only say to the old naughty boy, "Brother Zhou, you and my apprentice are sworn brothers, don't you have any meeting gifts?" The old naughty boy was stunned and felt that it made sense. But he had nothing in the cave, what could he take as a meeting gift? Naturally, he thought of martial arts. But he only wanted to teach martial arts to Guojing, so he asked Nanziren to leave temporarily. If it was any other time, Xiaoming would naturally leave obediently. But this time it was different, Xiaoming also wanted to learn. So he used storytelling as bait to exchange martial arts with Zhou Batong. The story of Lian Chengju just now is indeed very interesting. If there is a similar story, the old naughty boy thinks it is worth it. But it was agreed in advance that Nanziren's story must be interesting and long, and one martial art must be replaced by one story. Nanziren readily agreed. We can't do other things, but we must have enough stories. That day, the old naughty boy taught Nanziren and Guojing the skill of fighting with both hands. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1207. The owner of Peach Blossom Island has been a bit upset recently. He was quite happy a while ago. He found his daughter in his disciple Lu Qianfeng's Giun Manor, met Nanziren, and captured Mei Chaofeng. These are all good things. As for his daughter Huang Rong, she ran away from home, and Huang Yaoshi, the old father, was worried. For this reason, he even broke his vow and left Peach Blossom Island to find his daughter. Who would have thought that after finding this girl, she found an opportunity to sneak away again after only a few days of getting along. But this time, Huang Yaoshi was not so worried. The first time Huang Rong ran away from home, he was worried that his daughter would not take care of herself. Now it seems that she is fine outside for several months alone, which means that the danger is not great. In addition, Huang Yaoshi himself was young and had a lover he loved deeply. He can understand Huang Rong's situation. Knowing that his daughter likes Guojing, the silly boy, now, she must have gone to find him. Guojing's master is from a famous family, the current Jiangnan Seven Freaks must be considered a famous family. He is so young and has outstanding internal skills, so his temperament is naturally different. He was barely worthy of his daughter. In addition, he was Nanziren's apprentice, so Huang Yaoshi didn't hate him as much as in the original book. Instead, he felt that his daughter was very safe with Guojing. So Huang Yaoshi was not as anxious as the first time. Of course, he must have been a little upset. But for the sake of the seven freaks of Jiangnan, especially Nanziren, he endured it. Besides, his daughter has returned recently. Meeting Nanziren was a pleasant surprise. This person's Changshengju internal strength is extremely exquisite, and his medical skills are also excellent. He can even help Lu Changfeng, who had broken his tendons for many years, recover. This can make up for a huge regret in Huang Laoxie's heart. That is the 4 disciples who were implicated by the Black Wind twins. It is really great to be able to cure their feet. Unfortunately, Huang Yaoshi didn't know that only 2 of the 4 disciples are still alive, Lu Changfeng and Feng Mofeng. Half of his regrets can never be made up. If Dongxia knew that Chu Lingfeng died to a large extent because of his inconvenience in his legs and feet, he would blame himself even more. The Black Wind twins betrayed their master and exhausted his wife Feng Hong to death. Huang Yaoshi hated them to the core. Chen Xuanfeng's death was a good thing for him, and Mei Chaofeng must be tortured to death. Mei Chaofeng said that it was the 7 freaks of Jiangnan who killed Chen Xianfeng. At Giun Manor, Huang Yaoshi also saw the martial arts of the 7 freaks, especially Nanziren. He felt that these 2 traitors were simply brain-dead and brought shame to Peach Blossom Island. He dared to provoke such a person who was second only to himself. He deserved to die. Little did he know that when Chen Xianfeng died, the martial arts of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan were not so strong. Huang Yaoshi did not ask deeply about this. He was more concerned about the 9 yin manual. If Huang Yaoshi was only interested in the martial arts of the manual before, now the manual has become his inner demon. What he cares most about is burning the manual to commemorate his wife's soul. He himself has no interest in practicing the martial arts in the book. If it were not for his obsession with the martial arts of the manual, his wife would not have died of exhaustion due to dystocia. Huang Yaoshi and Feng Hong had a close relationship, so how could they practice martial arts from the scriptures? Mei Chaofeng knew she was going to die, so she dared not and was unwilling to hide the secret from her master, and told everything truthfully. Among them, Chen Xianfeng stabbed the 9 yin manual on his chest, and Mei Chaofeng cut off the skin and hid it on her body. Unexpectedly, she searched her body and found that the manual had disappeared. It was strange, she had never been in contact with anyone. How could she lose something? After thinking about it, she was roughly sure that she had read the 9 yin manual before going to Giun Manor. She had no impression of it since then. From Gyeon Manor to Peach Blossom Island, there were too many possibilities for it to be lost. Hwang Yaeshi was also speechless. Where could he find it? It seems that the matter of the 9-yin manual still has to fall on the old naughty boy. This time, he could have defeated the old naughty boy with the Song of the Rising Tide in the Blue Sea, but he didn't expect that the silly boy Guojing suddenly appeared, saved Zhou Batang, and ruined his business. Hwang Yaeshi was very angry, thinking that you haven't become my son-in-law yet, but you've already started to cheat your father-in-law. What will happen when you marry wronger in the future? I must teach him a lesson in the future. Not long after, the servant who delivered food to the cave reported that there were new people on Peach Blossom Island. They appeared where the old naughty boy was imprisoned. Hwang Yaeshi hurried over to check and found that it was Nan Ziren who came and got acquainted with Zhou Batang. So Dong Xie was a little embarrassed. If Nan Ziren asked him to let Zhou Batang go, what should he do? So Hwang Yaeshi, who was supposed to show up to meet Nan Ziren, decided to observe the situation for the time being. Hwang Yaeshi heard some of the stories told by Guojing, Nan Ziren, and Zhou Batang intermittently. The story of Lian Chengju also made him sigh. Dong Xie's lightness skills were outstanding, and he was very familiar with Peach Blossom Island. He hid outside the cave, and the people in the cave didn't notice it at all. Xiaoming could guess it based on his familiarity with the original novel. But he didn't know exactly when he would be there. On this day, Zhou Batang was tricked by Nan Ziren into teaching Nanguo and the other two martial arts. This was a good opportunity to learn secretly. If it was Wang Feng, he would definitely steal the skills, and even if it was Xiaoming, he would steal the skills. Only Hwang Yaeshi was arrogant by nature and couldn't do such a thing, which would be embarrassing. So he left quietly. Of course, he also decided to come back and listen regularly, not for martial arts, but for Nan Ziren's story. As a character written by Jin Dada, it is not surprising that he likes Jin Dada's book. The whole teaching process took about several days. Nan Ziren and Guojing both learned Kongming Fist and left-right fighting. Why is the word learned in quotation marks? Because the system compresses the time of learning martial arts. The so-called several days is the time axis of the secret realm, and only more than 10 minutes have passed in reality. Guojing really learned it, while Nan Ziren's character was forced to add these two skills by the system. All the tricks and precautions are instilled in Xiaoming's mind. If Nan Ziren wants to use these two skills, no problem. But if Xiaoming wants to use them in reality or in other secret realms, he needs to learn them first. Kongming Fist is fine, but left-right fighting is a good thing. In theory, left-right fighting allows a person to use two boxing techniques at the same time, and the martial arts are instantly doubled. In fact, some moves are used with both hands at the same time, such as the shock of 100 miles in the 18 palms of the dragon. Such martial arts cannot be used for left-right fighting. So it has to be slightly discounted. However, this is enough for the old boy to surpass the East Evil, the West Poison, the South Emperor, and the North Beggar, and become the best master of the time. Even though Nan Ziren has mastered the left-right fighting, he is still slightly inferior to Zhou Batang in terms of combat power. But he is no longer afraid of the four. Xiaoming couldn't help but think of the scene in The Return of the Condor Heroes, where Xiao Longnu used the swordsmanship of Quanzhen sect and Gumyu sect at the same time with the left-right fighting, and the power was extremely amazing. It seems that I should find an opportunity to learn it. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1208. Brother Joe, the boxing moves of your hands are completely different. Isn't it just like two people doing their own moves? When facing the enemy, if you use this set of Kung Fu, it will be 2 against 1. This Kung Fu can be it's very useful. Although the internal strength cannot be doubled, it is always a big advantage in terms of tricks. Xiaoming waited for a long time before Guojing said this. Zhou Batong was reminded by Guojing and suddenly realized that he was now the #1 master in the Central Plains. No matter how powerful the other people are, they can't beat two old naughty boys. In fact, Nancy Wren could have said this a long time ago and earned more favorability points. However, he didn't want to compete with his apprentice. He could earn a lot of favorability by telling Zhou Batong stories in the future. However, there was another thing that I had to snatch. In the original work, Zhou Batong practiced the Kongming boxing with his left hand and Quanzhen palm with his right hand. Might as well be bitten by a poisonous snake. Guojing drank the blood of Liang Ziwen's big snake and was immune to all poisons, so he fed the old naughty boy with his own blood and saved him. The old naughty boy almost died at the mouth of a snake, and he has been particularly afraid of snakes ever since. In this life, if Guojing did not drink the snake's blood, he would not be able to use the blood to save Zhou Batong's life. So Xiaoming had to guard against it. Nanziren guarded with all his heart. At the most critical moment, he killed the poisonous snake with flying rocks and saved the old naughty boy. Zhou Batong didn't know that he had just walked around the gate of hell and saw a few poisonous snakes swimming in the distance, so he sneered. Huang Laoxi boasts of his great supernatural powers, but he can't even clean up a small peach blossom island. Turtles, poisonous snakes, centipedes, everything has crawled on it. Nanziren naturally knew what was going on, so he said, "It is rumored that Zidu Wangfeng is good at raising venomous snakes. It must be that he came to the island and brought so many snakes." The old naughty boy liked to play devil's advocate with others, so he immediately retorted, "Humph. You said it's Western poison, right? There's no name written on the snake, so I'm saying it's not." Guojing trusted Nanziren the most and immediately worried, "Fourth Master, Wangfeng drove so many snakes to Peach Blossom Island, will Wrong be in danger?" He thought this was Wangfeng coming to attack Peach Blossom Island. "Don't you know that Zidu is here to steal his marriage? Proposed marriage to Huang Yaoshi for his nephew Wangke. That's right, let's go out and take a look now." After saying that, Nancy Wren left the cave first, followed closely by Guojing. The old naughty boy looked around and felt that it was boring to be left alone. He quickly followed him a few steps and muttered, "Hey, wait for me. Leave it to me to deal with Huang Yaoshi and Wangfeng." Soon the three of them saw a team of snakes driven away by more than a dozen men in white. Seeing so many venomous snakes suddenly made the old naughty boy feel uneasy. Fortunately, Nanziren and Guojing had always prepared realgar and other anti-snake medicines on their bodies, and they immediately gave some to the old naughty boy for self-defense. "Those poisonous snakes will not harm them." We followed the snake team from a distance to a bamboo forest on Dahua Island. There was a pavilion made of bamboo branches with a plaque inscribed Jikyui Pavilion. There are couplets hanging on both sides, which are exactly the two sentences, "The magic sword flies in the shadow of peach blossoms, and the jade flute is played by the tide in the blue sea." Xiaoming doesn't know calligraphy, but he only thinks Huang Yaoshi's calligraphy is very beautiful. On the lawn outside the pavilion, a large number of venomous snakes gathered, tens of thousands of them. There were many strange snakes among them, which Xiaoming had never seen before. There are also some men and women in white among the snakes, all of whom are from Beichuo Mountain in the western region. There are 4 people in the pavilion, facing each other. It was Huang Yaoshi, Huang Rong, his daughter, and Wangfeng, Wangke's uncle and nephew. Well, everyone knows that they are called uncle and nephew, but they are actually father and son. The last time they met, Wangke fell in love with Huang Rong at first sight. He immediately sent a letter back to Beichuo Mountain and asked his uncle Wangfeng to help him. 11 Du has always admired Dong Xie's martial arts skills. If his nephew could marry Huang Yaoshi's daughter, wouldn't it be equivalent to bringing Dong Xie's inheritance to his own family? Why not? Therefore, Wangfeng was very concerned and immediately sent people to Peach Blossom Island to bring heavy gifts and write a letter to propose marriage. At the same time, he also set off to the Central Plains in person. In the original work, Huang Yaoshi agreed to the marriage. Although it was because she didn't like Guojing, forcing her daughter to marry someone she didn't like was not something that Huang Yaoshi, a daughter-in-law, could do. In this life, Huang Yaoshi didn't hate Guojing because of Nanziren, so he declined the marriage from the beginning. However, Wei-Ang's uncle and nephew did not give up and went to Peach Blossom Island in person to persuade him. Western poison is as famous as Dongzi. Even when Wei-Ang Feng came to visit, Huang Yaoshi couldn't refuse him thousands of miles away. He just thought that if Wei-Ang Feng proposed marriage again, he would decline it again. Could it be that he could still persist in the fight? Unexpectedly, Wei-Ang Feng did not mention the matter immediately, but wanted to exchange martial arts experience with Huang Yaoshi first. I plan to get to know Dongzi's bottom. The two hadn't seen each other for more than 20 years since their last sword debate in Huashan. Huang Yaoshi also wanted to try Wei-Ang Feng's kung fu. Since this was a marriage proposal, it was not appropriate to shout and fight, so the two decided to play musical instruments. They all knew that their musical voices were so powerful that Huang Rong and Wei-Ang Ke blocked their ears. The snake group and the people in Beichuashan also walked away. Huang Yaoshi played the jade flute, while Wei-Ang Feng played the iron kite. The inner strength was used in the music, and the competition was really exciting. Nanziren and Guojing have profound internal skills in Changshengju, and are not afraid of their music. Because the old naughty boy had experienced it once before, he could resist it as long as he was prepared. The East Evil and the West Poison fought for a while, and suddenly a long roar was heard outside the pavilion, joining the battle. The three sounds intertwined and the fight was difficult to distinguish. It turned out that the North Beggar had also arrived. Huang Yaoshi and Wei-Ang Feng continued to compete while looking outside the pavilion. They saw four people coming together not far away. The first one was the leader of the beggar gang, Hong Kigong. Huang Yaoshi also recognized the other three people, who were Cajun Wu, Zhu Kong, and Quan Jinfa. Even Guojing could withstand the sound, so the three of them only defended and did not attack, so it was naturally no problem. Wei-Ang Feng did not recognize the seven freaks of Jiangnan. Seeing that these three people could withstand the sound of the three masters, he was secretly shocked. When did the old beggar have three more powerful helpers? I'm afraid it will be difficult to deal with them in the future. Huang Rong's ears were blocked in the pavilion, so she could not hear Hong Kigong's long roar, but she saw Hong Kigong and others with her father's eyes, and hurried over to greet them. She was also worried about her marriage. Several masters are here, they will definitely support her. Rong is as happy as a child. Wei-Ang Ke's face is not good. If his uncle can defeat Huang Yaoshi and use his power to suppress others, he will have a chance to marry Huang Rong. However, now that the North Beggar has come, this way is absolutely not feasible. No matter how powerful the West Poison is, he can't deal with the East Evil and the North Beggar together. In fact, Wei-Ang Ke's idea is completely wrong. Huang Yaoshi is a man who can't bend even if he is powerful. If Wei-Ang Feng begs kindly, there is still a little hope for this matter. If Wei-Ang Feng uses force to suppress others, then even if he is defeated, he would rather die than surrender. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1209. The East Evil, West Poison, and North Beggar used their internal strength to fight for a while, and then another long howl joined the battle. This person's internal strength was so deep that it was slightly higher than the three of them. Everyone was shocked, and saw three people walking out of the bamboo forest. The first one to make a howl was Nanziren, and the other two were Zhou Batong and Guojing. Uncle and nephew Wei-Ang did not know Nanziren. They had lived in the western regions for a long time, and did not know much about the martial artists in the Central Plains. Naturally, they had never heard of small characters like the 7 Freaks of Jiangnan. Wang Ke blocked his ears and did not feel anything, but Wang Feng's hair stood on end, and he was shocked. There are only a handful of people in the entire Central Plains who have such internal strength. But this person is not any of them. Who is he? Could he be a hidden master of a famous sect? You have to know that martial arts masters are not cabbages, and they are just there casually. Especially masters of the level of the 5 wonders of the Central Plains will not suddenly appear. Basically, everyone knows each other. West Poison thought he could be on par with the East Evil. But the appearance of the northern beggar and this newcomer made him a little overwhelmed. Xiaoming had learned Huang Yaoxi's Blue Sea Tide Rising song and had some experience in this kind of competition. Just now, he learned a lot of skills while listening to the competition between several people, and he joined in. As a modern person, Xiaoming naturally couldn't bear to let them be one short, so he took the initiative to take action and fill up a game with them. I just forgot to ask, are we playing for 50 cents or 1 yuan? In fact, Xiaoming has a lot of advantages in this form of competition. Although the technical requirements are also very high, it is ultimately a competition of the strength of internal strength, which is different from a real fight. Nanziren's internal strength is slightly higher than the 5 wonders, especially the Changshengju, which is endless and has a lot of stamina. It can be said that he has taken advantage of everything. He actually fought the 3 people on par. Huang Yaoxi and Hong Qigong knew Nanziren inside and out, and were not surprised by this. Wang Feng was scared. Speaking of which, there was indeed something fishy about his coming to Peach Blossom Island this time. Mainly, he wanted to test Huang Yaoxi's martial arts progress and prepare for the next Huashan sword contest. If Huang Yaoxi's martial arts failed, maybe the old poisonous creature would wipe out Peach Blossom Island. Of course, this was only a small possibility. For more than 20 years, Wang Feng has carefully cultivated 2 poisonous snakes. The toxicity is extremely fierce, and he regards them as his trump card. If Huang Yaoxi is not careful, he may also be fooled. Suddenly, 2 people who are as good as him appeared. Before determining their inclinations, Wang Feng dared not do anything. Hong Qigong has always been chivalrous, and Wang Feng knew that he would never be biased towards him. The other one who appeared with the old naughty boy is probably also an enemy. If he gets hurt, it will be miserable if these 2 people take advantage of him. So the sound of the iron zither counterattacked twice and then withdrew from the battle. Seeing that he was not playing anymore, the other 3 also stopped. Hong Qigong, the 7 Freaks of Jiangnan, Huang Rong and others were so happy when they saw Nanziren. Huang Yaoxi was delighted when he found that the old naughty boy came with Nanziren. He made a bet with the old naughty boy that if the old naughty boy took the initiative to leave the cave, he would lose. Dong Xie thought that it was Nanziren and his apprentice who persuaded the old naughty boy to give up the first volume of his 9-yin manual so that he could use it to sacrifice his wife. Little did he know that Huang Laoxie was completely wrong. The old naughty boy left the cave now because he had surpassed Huang Yaoxi in martial arts and no longer had to be trapped. As the landlord, Huang Yaoxi naturally introduced Wang Feng. "Brother Feng, I will introduce you to an amazing master. This is the 4th of the 7 Freaks of Jiangnan, Nanshan woodcutter Nanziren. He is currently one of the 4 elders of the beggar gang, and his martial arts are not inferior to you and me." After Nanziren had the skill of fighting with both hands, his martial arts were indeed on par with the 5 wonders. But Huang Yaoxi was not aware of this at the time, and he said this to flatter Nanziren. Wang Feng had a preconceived idea. Judging from the internal strength that Nanziren had just displayed, what Huang Yaoxi said must be true. He immediately clasped his fists and bowed to Nanziren, saying, "I haven't set foot in the Central Plains for 20 years. I didn't expect that there would be a master like Brother Nan. I am so honored to meet you today. Brother Yao, you are too kind to me. I am ashamed to accept your praise. Mr. Wang's name has long been a household name for me. Nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Nan Ziren hurriedly returned the greeting. Although Xiao Ming despised Wang Feng's character, he was still somewhat interested in his technology for cultivating poisons. If he mastered this technology, it would be an amazing skill. Everyone knows that in the world created by Jin Dada, human power is sometimes limited. Except for Huang Yaoshi, it is difficult for anyone to be excellent in all aspects. Even if Xiao Ming has many clones, they can't help in martial arts. However, knowledge is different from martial arts. Once you learn it, you learn it. The clones can just help. Besides, studying poisons and drugs is mainly based on rote memorization. Unlike studying Kimen numerology, which requires a good brain, it is just right for Xiao Ming. Of course, Xiao Ming is just thinking about it now. It is not so easy to inherit the poison from Wang Feng. The three of them were being polite, but Hong Qigong was getting impatient. The old beggar doesn't like to hear your flowery words. Old poisoner, I haven't seen you for 20 years. Let's fight first. Without waiting for Wang Feng to answer, he waved his palm and slapped him on the shoulder. Wang Feng lowered his shoulders and pulled back his arms, retreating several feet. He didn't want to fight this time. The situation in front of him was obviously not in his favor, so why bother to show off his skills in a duel and let others know his unique skills? But Hong Qigong's palm technique is superb, and it is no use just dodging. He immediately counterattacked, and the two fought in a group. In a short while, more than 100 moves had already passed. Huang Yaoshi originally thought that he had been studying hard on Peach Blossom Island for 20 years, and after Wang Kongyang's death, he was already the best in the world. Seeing the two fighting today, he also felt respect in his heart. It turned out that the old beggar and the old poisoner took different paths, and both practiced such respectable and awe-inspiring kung fu. He watched the fight attentively. Zhou Batong, Nan Ziren, Cajun Wu, and others were the same. Only Guo Jing and Huang Rong had a deep relationship, and they knew that Qigong would not be in any danger with his father and master watching the fight. So the two quietly came together, holding hands and watching the fight. Wang Ke didn't understand the excitement of the competition, and looked around, and saw the intimacy between Guo and Huang. He couldn't help but feel jealous and wanted to sneak attack Guo Jing. In the original novel, he really did this, and as a result, Guo Jing's martial arts skills improved greatly, and he easily counterattacked and broke his ribs. Fortunately, in this life, although Wang Ke's martial arts skills are not good enough, he still has some foresight. In the current situation, the villains Huang Yaoshi and Nancy Ren who are watching are both very skilled in martial arts, and they are not on the same level as him. How dare he attack casually? Looking at Huang Rong's beautiful smile, knowing that this beauty may no longer be with him, he can't help but feel worried and lost. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1210. The battle between Bei Bei and 11 Du has come to an end. After 1 or 200 strokes, it stopped. Anyway, Wang Feng didn't want to fight to the point of fierce competition. After a little trial and understanding the skill of the old beggar, he refused to fight again. If the beating continues, the anger will rise, and the old poison will lose all its strength. There are two masters watching eagerly. When Wang Feng first entered the Central Plains, he didn't have time to do any evil deeds that would make him famous in the world. Hong Qigong had no intention of killing him at this time. Naturally, I won't stalk you. Logically speaking, Nan Ziren should go up and have a friendly discussion with Wang Feng at this time, but Xiao Ming was too timid and did not dare to step forward. Huang Yaoshi and Hong Qigong both thought that Nan Ziren was ashamed of herself. Only Xiao Ming himself knew that he and Zidu were ready to fight. Fighting each other from left to right plus 18 dragon subduing palms, At least you won't lose. But before the two venomous snakes on Wang Feng's iron staff fart, Xiao Ming will try his best to avoid close combat with him. This Xiao Ming really doesn't know how to defend himself. Just because Nanziren doesn't fight doesn't mean that others are unwilling to fight. The old naughty boy Zhou Batong had already become very itchy. Besides, he still had an old grudge with Zidu, so he immediately rushed to fight Wang Feng. Huang Yaoshi almost screamed, thinking to himself, Zhou Batong, you can't even beat me, why do you dare to provoke Wang Feng? Anyway, the old naughty boy is famous for his unclear mind. It's normal to mess with anyone. At worst, in a critical moment, all I have to do is save him. Unexpectedly, Huang Laoxi's jaw almost fell off as soon as these two people fought. It was the old naughty boy who defeated Wang Feng. Zhou Batong was seen fighting with each other from left to right, with both hands attacking separately. It was as if there were two Zhou Batongs, attacking separately and in perfect coordination. Faced with his strange tricks, Wang Feng fell into a disadvantage without checking for a moment. The old naughty boy was even more unreasonable and pursued Wang Feng repeatedly. Fortunately, the old naughty boy is innocent and simple, and likes to play pranks, but he is unwilling to hurt people's lives. Therefore, although his attack was heavy, it was not fatal. Besides, the old naughty boy's martial arts is indeed stronger than Zidu, but it doesn't have that overwhelming advantage. Wang Feng looked a little ugly on the scene, but he was not crushed. Huang Yaoshi was stunned, and then he understood why Zhou Batong left the cave. It turns out that people are not afraid of themselves at all. Just now, I mistakenly attributed the credit to Nancy Ren and Guo Zheng. Pa sounded twice, but it was Wang Feng who used the toad kung fu and struck out with both palms, knocking Zhou Batong back several steps. 11 Du turned around and left, dragging Wang Ke away as well. I just heard him say as he walked, Brother Zhou is very powerful in martial arts, and I am willing to be inferior. I will say goodbye now. Before he finished speaking, the figure was already 100 steps away. To be honest, Wang Feng was really afraid of Zhou Batong. If I were defeated by Hong Qigong and Huang Yaoshi, the other party would probably not kill me because they were concerned about their status. But it's hard to tell for this old naughty boy. If I can't guarantee that he's not in the right frame of mind, he might really be too harsh. Even if he doesn't die, he will be seriously injured. In addition, it was difficult to distinguish between friends and foes, so Wang Feng didn't dare to stay at all, so he just walked away. Seeing that Zidu was so frightened by the old naughty boy that he ran away, Huang Yaoshi and Hong Qigong both shook their heads. He secretly sighed that although Wang Feng was very good at martial arts, his escape was too shameless. After settling the account with 11 Du, there was another account to be settled. The old naughty boy turned his head and his eyes fell on Dong Xie. Huang Laoxi, it's your turn. Watch and fight. Huang Yaoshi sighed, knowing that this battle was inevitable. Stepping forward, he struck out with the fallen divine sword and received the old naughty boy's punch. Facing Zhou Batong, Huang Laoxi was much better than Wang Feng in terms of performance. At first glance, they looked evenly matched. The martial arts of East Evil and West Poison should be similar. Why is this? First of all, Huang Yaoshi's martial arts are mostly based on false moves, which the old naughty boy is not used to. Secondly, just now he carefully observed the battle between Zhou Batong and Wang Feng. Be mentally prepared. Faced with the fight between the left and right, although Huang Yaoshi had no way to restrain himself, it was not a problem to deal with it a few times. Nanziren walked to Hong Qigong and Ke Zhenyi and whispered, Gang leader, brother, let's go see Wang Feng off. The two of them glanced at Nanziren and saw his eyes flickering, knowing that he had a deeper meaning. He nodded and went with Nanziren to see Wang Feng off. Zhu Kong and Quan Jinfa also followed. This trip to Peach Blossom Island required a trip to the sea. Zhang Ashan and his wife were worried that their daughter was not used to taking a boat, so they did not come. Han Baoju also stayed with his sister and her family. These are the only people who have come to the island now. Huang Yaoshi should have sent it to Zidu Island in person, so as not to be disrespectful. But Huang Yaoshi was stopped by Zhou Batong, who was not clear-minded. Nan Ziran, Hong Kigong, and others came to express their wishes. In fact, Xiaoming was a little worried about whether Wang Feng would leave any backup plan on the island and had to guard against it. How could the deaf and mute servants of Peach Blossom Island prevent this? Besides, these servants on Peach Blossom Island were originally very evil people, but they were captured by Huang Yaoshi and made deaf and mute. They had a deep feud with Huang Yaoshi, so it would be nice not to join Wang Feng in conspiring to harm others. Who would protect Peach Blossom Island with all their heart? The people in White Camel Mountain and the Snake Formation all boarded the big ship. They came from under the eyes of Qi Gong and others. A large white flag stood on the bow of the ship, embroidered with a two-headed monster snake with its mouth and tongue sticking out. Wang Feng stood under the flag and said loudly, "Everyone, I have to say goodbye. See you later." Seventh brother, that old naughty boy must have practiced the 9-yin manual, and his martial arts is even better than you and me. When we discuss swords in Huashan Mountain in the future, I am afraid that he is the best in the world. 1. He shook his head again and sighed. I heard that Wang Chongyang once made a vow that all Quanzhen disciples were not allowed to practice the 9-yin manual. I didn't expect that his junior brother would be the first to break the oath. It really tarnished the reputation of Zhong Shentong. Wang Feng's words seemed to be high-sounding, but in fact they were full of provocation. First, he tempted Hong Kigong with the title of the world's #1, and then slandered Zhou Batong for breaking Wang Kongyang's oath. He instigated Hong Kigong to uphold justice. As for what little calculations he had in mind, it was unknown. "Mr. Wang," Nan Ziran interrupted at this time, "you made a mistake." "Oh," Wang Feng raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect Nan Ziran to interrupt at this moment. He appeared with Zhou Batong, maybe he really knew something. He listened attentively. The old naughty boy didn't practice any of the 9-yin manual. The moves he used just now were created by himself after living in seclusion on Peach Blossom Island for 15 years. "Ah? Really?" the West Poison and the North Beggar asked in surprise. It turned out that Hong Kigong also thought that Zhou Batong practiced the 9-yin manual, which was how he could defeat Wang Feng. Unexpectedly, it was not the case. Nan Ziran continued, "Mr. Wang is a famous martial artist. Your current kung fu may not be worse than the 9-yin manual. Besides, the manual was also written by people. How does Mr. Wang know that you can't write a better one yourself?"